Hi, it's Gracie with Self-Care with Gracie. Today I wanted to share a few of my tips for staying grounded during transitional periods of time. And I'm sharing this because I'm moving after living in an apartment for 4 years. And so I'm feeling a lot of things and noticing where I'm getting ungrounded and noticing how I'm using self-care to ground myself. And I thought that perhaps this could be helpful for other people. And something I want to say about transitions is that they are completely normal to go through. I think they're actually a great sign that we are growing and doing new things in our life. And so if you're going through a transition, that's great. You're in your process. And there's a lot of inherently hard things about transitions. We are getting uprooted from things that feel normal and comfortable. We are habitual animals. Our nervous systems like to do the same things around the same times and know where it feels safe. And we're changing a lot of that when we bring a level of newness in. And so it's normal to feel ungrounded during this time. And hopefully these 3 steps will help you and me as we transition. So the first step is to really embrace that there's a lot of complexity within a transition. And in our culture, we have a story that there are certain transitions that are good and there's certain transitions that are bad. And the good ones are getting married, having a baby, buying a house, getting promoted. And the bad ones are more like a death of somebody in the family or that we're close to, losing a job, breaking up with somebody. And so if we only tell ourselves the story that we're only allowed to be happy during good transitions and sad during bad transitions, I think we make it a lot harder on ourselves. And because what I found is that even within this really happy transition I'm having of, having a baby and starting a life with a new partner, I still feel sad. I've lived a lot of life in this apartment. I've really turned into an adult here. I've started a business here. I've established who I am here. And now I'm leaving it all behind. And it would feel weird if there wasn't grief in the process for me. I know so many people who have planned weddings that have had a lot of unexpected grief that has surprised them. And then the reverse is also true, that I broke up with a long-term relationship a few years ago, actually, in this apartment. And I thought it would be the saddest moment of my life. And instead, it was sad, but it birthed what was happening next for me. So it's really normal to feel all sorts of feelings when you're going through a transition. It's normal to feel really happy at 1 hour and then sad the next hour. And all of it, I think, is part of the process. What's helpful is to track it in some way. So journaling or going to see a therapist, doing something where you're able to talk about your feelings in a way that helps you to make sense of feeling a lot of things. And so having those practices established for yourself can be a level of therapy. So I encourage that. The second step within self-care is that you have to find a sense of routine even within a lot of change. And this is where our habits come into it. So we're used to going home to the same place every night. We're used to showing up and going into the same office every day. And if one of those things changes, then what we need to do is to figure out what doesn't need to change in our life. And so during transitional moments, it can be easy to throw everything up in the air and say like, well, I'm not going to worry about going to bed. I'm going to stay up later and drink an extra glass of wine, or I kind of deserve this. But it's actually those grounded habitual things of teaching your body that it can still trust that you're going to wake it up in the morning, going to give it some time to breathe and move, doing a little exercise. You're going to give it a good breakfast. When lunchtime comes and you get hungry, you're going to feed it lunch. When it's time to go to sleep, you'll go to sleep, maybe put your legs up the wall before turning the lights off. All of that can give you a sense of routine when a big part of your routine is broken. And again, it's not going to be the instinct for most of us to do that. So I'd say to pick like 1 or 2 habits that you know are important for you. And for me, they're always going to bed early. So like going to bed at 10 a.m. and taking some time to have quiet first thing in the morning. So for me, I drink my hot water, I scrape my tongue, I read, I meditate, I do some yoga. It can be a little different no matter what it is, but just knowing that I have that time every morning, or at least most mornings, that helps me to stay grounded even when everything else is changing. The third step of handling change during a transition is to put yourself first. This can be really hard for a lot of us, especially as women. We're not habituated to put ourselves first. And I know this as well as anybody. But what I've learned as I've gotten older is that if I don't have good grounded energy in myself, I actually don't have anything to offer anyone else around me. I volunteer at a homeless services program in DC called Thrive DC, and I rarely ever miss a Wednesday. I woke up this morning, felt completely scattered. I had painters coming. The painter came yesterday. My routine was off, and I sat there and I realized that I don't actually have anything to give anyone else in this moment. And so instead of going off to do my routine of serving, I decided that I would serve myself. So I went to the Arboretum with Pancho, my dog. I spent some time breathing and being out in the earth and nature. And I feel so much better now. So I think if I had recorded a video before I had done that, it would have been a lot more frazzled. So I'm happy to be recording a video from this space and helping us remember that we will definitely serve people again. And there's a time for that. And that's when we've served ourselves enough that we have an excess of energy. So we're giving from our excess instead of our deficit. And that's a revolutionary self-care idea for a lot of us. So I'm really practicing what I preach right now. So whatever transition you're going through or will go through in the future, see if these 3 steps might be helpful. Please reach out and share any other steps. Of course, I need them right now. And know that for a lot of us, calm is not something that naturally comes to us, but it is something we can cultivate. And I really believe self-care is the path. So next time I broadcast, I'll be in my new place, and I'll look forward to all the change and all the emotions that brings up. Please take care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.